What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We're back today on Native Side Outdoors. My name's Hunter Clements, and today I got with me Brian Clements, aka my father. This is the man who taught me really how to fish. He taught me everything I know, to be honest, about the creek, about deer hunting, wading, anything you really want to know. So today we're just going to do a little talking back and forth about how the creek's changed over the years and why we use the baits we use today. So let's go ahead and just get started with, you started fishing in the creek 30 years ago?
Right, yeah, 35 years ago.
And the creek's changed in what way since then?
A lot. It used to, when we fished years ago, when I was a teenager, all we caught was largemouth bass. And this is all we used right here. Everything.
Buzzbait.
Buzzbait and spinnerbait. Everything white. There wasn't no spots in the creek. Everything was largemouth, and that lasted for probably 10 years. And then that's when the spots come in. When them spots come in, I guess they're more aggressive or something. They eat,
they eat out the babies for the largemouth.
Yeah, they were gone.
I know the spot turnover is ridiculous compared to the largemouth.
Once them spots got in the creek,
mm-hmm.
It was probably about 5 years there was spots and largemouth.
Right.
And then after that, the largemouth just disappeared. They ain't a largemouth in the creek no more.
Yeah, it's very, very rare to run across a largemouth anymore, at all. I don't think we've caught one in the 15 years I've been fishing with you.
I ain't caught one in 15, 20 years.
So what happened was the state put the spotted bass into the river. And then our creek system that we fish the most runs out below Neely Henry Dam, which is actually Logan Martin Lake. And when they stocked Logan Martin Lake with spotted bass, they came up the creek system after 5-10 years after they started stocking them. They come up the creek system, and they actually ate all the largemouth out. They eat more fish, more crawfish, and the largemouth just couldn't survive. And when they would spawn, the spotted bass would eat out all the baby largemouth. So it really left us to nothing but 2 or 3 pound fish. I know y'all have talked about catching 5-6 pound largemouth in the creek before.
It wasn't nothing catching 5 pound largemouth, and the biggest I ever seen come out of the creek was 6.5.
That's a big fish for the creek.
Yeah.
That's a very big fish, especially a bass. Now the biggest you're gonna catch is maybe a 4 pound spot.
Yeah, if you're lucky.
Yeah, if you're very lucky. So we went from using buzz baits, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we still throw a buzz bait.
Yeah, spots will tear them up too.
We still use a buzz bait, but we really went to the spinner bait, and the spotted bass just really aren't much of a topwater bite as much as they are underwater. I mean, largemouth, you get a lot better of a topwater bite off them.
Yeah.
Than you do an underwater bite. But then, what was it, maybe 10 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
We really got into plastics, and you started that.
Yeah.
How did you figure that out with the crawfish, those black crawfish you used to use?
I don't really remember. I just remember every time we, filleted a bass or anything, we always looked in its stomach to see what it eat.
Right.
And every bass that you look in its stomach's gonna have a crawfish in it.
Right.
So we just started trying to match that crawfish with something we could, plastic we could buy, and that's what we come up with.
So you started off with black.
Started with black.
And then when me and you started fishing together, I wasn't but 7 years old, and we swapped to green because in the early spring the crawfish were a green color. And then late summer we swapped to this dark brown that I'm fishing with now. This is the one y'all seen in my previous 2 videos. The crawfish just really changed our bite completely. It took us up to another level on fish.
Yeah, I won't use nothing but that. I mean, you can catch a lot of fish on a buzz bait or a spinner bait in the creek, but to me, I catch more fish on something representing a crawfish.
Yeah, I think that's the majority of what they eat. I mean, they do eat a lot. The spotted bass do eat a lot of small minnows and things like that, but if you catch a bass, it's pretty rare not to find a crawfish in his belly if he was to flat. Yeah. I mean, it is super rare to not find a crawfish in it. So we swapped over to these, and I mean, it took our bite from 10 fish per trip to 20, 25. I mean, we've caught 25, 30 bass in a day in the creek before. I mean, that's a ridiculous amount of what y'all used to catch.
Oh yeah.
But
and you can get them there in several different colors.
Yeah, you could get them in white all the way down to black and everything in between. We just always found that gray and brown work best because that's really what our crawfish colors are in the creek. They transfer over. So our baits, we use them in 3 different ways on our plastics. We use them light lining, which really is kind of a hard thing to fish in the creek just because of the way you have to cast, because of the high poundage we use on the test. On our line, we use 17-pound test because we're always fishing around brush. And I think I've got a clip of that from the other day. I went for just a little while, and I'll show you why we use 17-pound test. But oh my God, that is a big fish, whatever that is. I think I'm in a log or something. Also, fish is still on there. I feel the fish. It's taking my line. Oh my God, come around that, come around that, come around that. Come out around that. Come on, come on. Oh, I gotta go over there. That's a big fish. That's a monster. Oh God, please don't let there be any cottonmouths. Oh God. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna keep the tension on the line, right? 17-pound test. I'm not worried about it breaking. Fish is still on. I feel her kicking. We're just gonna walk straight over to her, right? Something's over there. I heard it come off a limb or something. So what we're gonna do is grab her line right here. Pull her up, pull her up, pull her up, pull her up. Oh, this cluster of crap. Oh, there we go. It's a good fish. It's a keeper. Light lining really just puts a different presentation on it.
Yeah.
It takes it from going up and down in the brush to fish that are really active and just kind of searching for something swimming by. And then we also use this bait as a topwater bait. Kind of like your weightless frogs that you use. We reel these across the top of the water, and the pinchers steadily are kicking on top of the water. So that brings a fish up, and if it bulls on the bait and takes it, that's good. But if it bulls on it and misses it, then you can kill the bait and then use it light lining like we were. That's really helped us a lot too, catch some fish, because I know a lot of times we've thrown in places and been swimming it out and have fish bite it out in the middle of the creek, chase it all the way out to the boat with us. But we got a clip of that too from the other day of using it as a topwater bait and a light line bait. When we started creek fishing, we've always used short rods, medium heavy with a strong backbone.
Yep.
That way, any fish that's in the cover, you can really just manhandle them out.
Drag them out.
Right. So we've always used what, 6-foot rods?
I like 6 foot or less.
It's kind of it's hard to find a less than 6-foot rod.
You can't find them no more, especially a medium heavy.
Everyone's went to tournament fishing, and with the tournament fishing, everybody wants the long rod for sensitivity. You know, you could feel the bait. But for us, we fish a little different of a way than a tournament fisherman, as in a tournament fisherman, he feels his bite through his rod. We feel our bite through the line. Me and him both, you know, you're holding your bait caster. We put our finger across the top of the line to where when it's running up your rod, you can feel everything through your finger.
Yeah.
And we actually learned that from catfishing in the creek. But that really helps us feel our bait more and feel our bites more. You can feel every bit of cover you're coming across just by laying your finger on the line right above your reel where it's coming out of your spool. That really took a long time for us to figure out. How did you learn to do that? The finger on the line trick?
That's the only way I ever fished.
So
that's just the way I started out fishing.
Was just feeling the bite.
Was my finger being right there on my line.
And you just felt the bite through your finger instead of the rod. I really think that helps a lot. It really makes you feel more of a bite than it does waiting on the fish to actually take it.
You can feel everything.
You can just drag it across small rocks and you'll feel every little rock it's hitting with your finger on the line.
And you know, talking about rods, if you got something bigger than longer than a 6-foot rod, you know, fishing in the creek, you're not in a big wide open place. You're in under limbs, and everything. You throwing side armed and everything else. So the longer the rod you got in the creek, the more problems you'll have.
Right. I mean, if you're floating the creek, we floating small fiberglass boats and flat bottom boats, and when we float, it really causes an issue because you're under tree limbs that are hanging over the creek the entire float. So if you don't have a 6-foot rod, there's no overhand casting in the creek whatsoever. You're not going to bring the tip of your rod over your head and cast out. You're going to be in a treetop, over a tree limb, or the end of your rod's going to be hitting a tree. You have to sidearm and backhand cast the whole time to be able to get the bait out.
Yep.
So anything more than really a 6'6", I use a 6'6" sometimes in the creek. I can tell the difference between a 6 and a 6'6" when I'm in the creek, especially on my hook set. So hook set, a lot of times if I'm using the longer rod, I'll catch tree limbs and everything else because you want to set the hook straight up.
Yeah.
Well, all right, we really appreciate you coming on today.
No problem. Glad to.
We're gonna go ahead and exit out for today, and we're gonna be back next week, or at the end of this week actually. We're gonna be back Thursday, and we're going to actually check a new creek out, and it's got largemouth and spotted bass in it, so stay tuned for that. But for everybody out there today enjoying your beautiful Saturday, Sunday, Monday, have a great day, and thank you for watching Native Side Outdoors.